my name is Jasmine Jones, and I am a licensed clinical social worker. And you are now watching Black Girl, a Therapist in the Wild, and this little show I like to call Therapist Sips and Reviews. And today I am drinking Kahlua and some other stuff. How y'all doing? I'm doing horribly. No, I feel like we're in the apocalypse, and no, this nigga is doing like this is gonna be a little bit of a rambler because I have to get this off my chest, and I feel like this is a good place to do it. You know, like I feel like I'm a lot of a person, and I have a lot of emotions, and like sometimes my emotions is a lot for people, and so I kind of keep shit to myself because it's a lot. But on here, like fuck it, I don't care. No, I don't care. Like y'all gonna like it or hate it, but it's just a choice. You don't have to watch. And so it's only 1,600 of y'all on here, and so like it's like a little small community. It's a vibe. So I would say how I feel, cause no, this nigga out here on the first week of his fucking shit done got rid of DEI programs. 79% of white women are head of DEI programs in this country. So a bunch of white women got fired. Is rounding up the immigrants that are brown, not white, brown and black, I'm sure. And is sending them to countries in random jets and shit, and has revoked the passports of trans folks with X on their passports. So non-binary folks is out here like trapped in America. Their passports aren't real, and they cannot leave the country, and they won't get new passport renewed, and I don't know. And then has set up here and stopped the Sciences and Health Department from reporting on the health of America to the world, to America, to the US. So like we don't know if this bird flu, swine flu situation, how it's going. Like we could all drop dead any moment. Like I'm glad he didn't do that during COVID, so we could have a resurgence of COVID. Nobody would know. People would just be dying. It would be like that movie The Stand. People's throat just swelling up and they just die and shit. And okay, it has stopped all scientific research in America. Has taken the budget from all scientific research. So treatment studies and case studies and cancer treatments, and the cure for cancer could have been found tomorrow, but because the budget got swiped today, and this nigga is just able to do this, I guess because he filled up the Senate and the House of Representatives, and he filled them up with niggas like him, and we're run by narcissists and sociopaths and rapists and pedophiles and shit. And it's been the same since the beginning. I had to reframe to feel a little smidgen. I don't know if it's better or not, but like literally this is our turn. This is our turn. Like that's why I'm a bitch that looks at patterns. And I always said I can't be with no around people that don't see patterns, because I see patterns and it helps me to know where shit is heading to, right? When you're around motherfuckers that don't see patterns, people just looking at me like I'm fucking crazy until the bad thing happens, and now they don't even want to be around me and shit, like they scared or some shit. Okay. I told you this was gonna happen. Like I told you I told you that nigga was gonna beat you when he socked a hole in the wall, girl, but you didn't want to and now look, we in the hospital and I had to hide a body and shit. Like you got me like that. Like they'll come after me. There's no statute of limitations on this shit, nigga. Like, so like you got me fucked up. Like this has been happening since. I always like to go back to Rome trying to take over Europe, but let's just go back to slavery. So the newly freed slaves, their kids then had to experience like all of that shit that they was just killing us during segregation. So slavery ended around like 1856, 57 or some shit. I watched a lot of history. I dissociated into the History Channel. Let's be honest. I dissociated into the History Channel when I was a kid. So I know a lot of history facts, okay? So 1856, 57, right? And the children of those slaves and some of the young adults and, a little bit of the older adults had to experience all the shit that they was doing to us during segregation, blowing up our towns, hanging us from trees, all this shit, right? And so then they had to experience that and all that stuff that happened during the civil rights movement. So white chaos is just happening every generation of black folks. This is not new, nigga. Like, it's just our turn, right? And so, like, then after the civil rights movement, then they put crack into our neighborhoods and killed all the Black Panther leaders. Because they didn't want us to be happy. Just like any abuser, they cannot see us happy because, and I even was thinking about it. I was thinking about it because I be getting on black folks because, like, this shit that happened with Target, I was just like, they took away our DEI and shit. I mean, they're taking, like, their DEI program away, and then they're also taking away the program that funded the black businesses in their stores, right? So that means eventually there's probably not going to be barely any black products in their stores because they're not funding that shit anymore. And so, like, I'll be like, just sitting here like, see, if we had not sold out to companies like L'Oreal and Lancome and shit like that, and even though it was hard, kept fighting until we had big enough, companies and shit like that. But then I had to think about it. Maybe it's a cultural thing, like, most people of color are communal group thinkers. Okay, we are tribal. We are small tribes scattered across the land doing our own thing, right? We might conquer a tribe here and there, but we're not a swath of a country worth of land trying to take shit over, right? Maybe that's just still in us. Maybe that's just still like when I was doing the review for Supercell, and I was like, this nigga got powers and shit. Why isn't he trying to take over England? Like, why is he just trying to, like, be the king of this block and shit and run up after these white folks that are taking advantage of him and using him and his powers to basically, like, kill other black people and shit, right? If you gotta watch the show. And then I was like, maybe like that's what we do. We just take over small swaths of land and create our own little areas, and we chilling with that. We're fine with that because we're not I realize that power and control thing, that greed that is in white culture that they bred into their culture, that shit, we never bred that into our culture fully, so we're not greedy. And of course, like, years worth of white supremacy trauma has made us feel like maybe we can't reach too high. Even the rich folks, the rich black folks that refuse to get together en masse and help the rest of us. Something happens when you get over a certain dollar amount or some shit and you just say no. Maybe it's that mentality. Maybe it's a cultural thing too. And we just aren't, like, conquerors, and like we're not conquerors in, like, a fucking malicious evil way where we want to take everything for ours and not give anything to anybody else. Like, in the small areas that we control, kind of, sort of, we might control that in a way that is fucked up. Like, those people, we might be bad leaders or some shit. But even then, not a lot of us are trying to branch out and, like, I got my store that I bought here. I'm not thinking about, like, franchising it like that. I'm thinking about, like, just having this store right here. Sometimes we do. I'm not saying all of us, but it just feels like we do it a lot. And to the point where I just keep asking, why do we keep selling out? Why do we keep selling out? Why do we keep selling out? Maybe it's just a cultural thing too. Like, we don't want to have control of everything and everyone. Something deep down inside of us doesn't want that. And so maybe that's what happens kind of as a part of like the reason why we sell out and we don't try to grow our shit into like a Target or like Jay-Z and Beyonce, like they be selling shit and stuff like her hair care and her perfume and her clothes and shit like that. But like they built like a fucking, they ain't built a Target. Like I would say the closest person that I've seen to building some shit like that is Rihanna. Like I would not be surprised in the next 10 years if there weren't Savage Fenty stores just brick and mortar by themselves all around the world. And I'm just sitting here like, she happy, she married, she got her kids, and she ain't paying smoke to nothing and nobody but her business and shit. No, she's not gonna go back to singing because that's not something she wanted to do. And it low key, from what I heard, it sounded like she was low key coerced into it. That's not what she wants to do. It's fun to do, like creativity, like art, just doing shit for fun. But like as a job, that shit is exhausting because you are literally selling your body. You're selling a part of yourself. And that weighs on niggas over time because people are pulling and snatching at pieces of you that reside in your art. And so, no, I don't think she's going to go back to singing like that unless she's purely just doing that shit for fun, like the Britney Spears Toxic album. And I feel like that was her most purest album, her most purest place mentally. And that's why that's the best album of hers I've ever heard. And I don't care about any of her albums except for that album because it was real. So I think the one that's closest to that is Rihanna. Where the rest of them niggas? Like, Beyonce and Jay-Z had money like that way before Rihanna. And I mean, they're billionaires and shit like that, but like, you could have more and then give it back. Maybe they're on their way there, but it's like Rihanna, like, she just completely dropped music to do this. And she's here now and she's younger. And so I don't know. Like, why aren't more rich black people doing some shit like that and owning big ass businesses like that? Why? And I'm just like, maybe it's a cultural thing. Maybe it's some shit left over from Africa or some shit. And like, it just sucks to see that we have to like bow and scrape now because, and I mean, we don't have to, but it's just like, that's what they trying to make us do. And like I was saying, like, so it's gonna be a long one. I don't give a fuck. Like, you don't have to watch this. I ain't even got to the show yet. This is my second time recording this because I didn't plug the mic in right and was talking for 43 fucking minutes. And when I turned it off and saw the mic was acting weird and I turned the video on, it was just some bullshit. But yeah, like, I just want to see. That's why that shit happened at Target. That's why that shit happened. Because we keep pouring into these people that have consistently shown us that they ain't shit. And the more you pour into niggas that show you the pattern, when it's small, eventually when it gets big enough, that shit gonna collapse and take all y'all niggas with it. And it's just like, well, you know, niggas that was at the Diddy parties, like, you know, like, we weren't there. Yes, you were. Yes, you were. You were there. Yes, you were. And so, like, it's just a lot. It's a lot, and it's overwhelming. And, you know, I just been chilling. I just been trying to chill because I feel like, no, nigga, like, I will fall apart. I'm crashing out every day this week. I have been, and I've been telling my clients, oh, don't scroll, don't look at it, don't da 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 da. And I've been looking at that shit every 5 seconds just because I'm in healthcare. Is the insurance company's gonna take my ability to see clients? Like, are they gonna take my jobs and shit? Nigga, like, Like it's like that shit from South Park when they was like saying they gonna take our jobs and shit, and about the Latin folks and shit, and like no nigga, this white man is taking your job and shit, nigga. Let's get to the show. Let's get to the show. So it's a really cute episode where, and I like how they did this. So basically, like the bus system is on strike, right? But like, and so the kids, a lot of the kids can't get to school. So they showed how the bus system is like really important to the city. Like, no, these people work hard and they run the city, and y'all ain't treating them right. But they did it in a way where it wasn't like they were blaming the bus drivers for striking or some shit like that. It was more so like, no, we understand and they deserve to be treated right and shit, and we have to figure out as teachers how to, you know, supplement that and help our students. And it was just like, that's what they did. Like they figured it out. Like Janine, she got the party bus from Ava, and she was driving her students around and, you know, getting them to school and shit. And then Barbara and Jacob, they was like working together with these siblings, and the oldest sibling was trying to help the youngest sibling, and they decided that the oldest sibling would come to school a little bit earlier. And you know, then later when the actual bell rang for school to start, that she would then go in and help the youngest sibling with her school stuff. And like they figured out, I thought it was funny because Jacob was like thinking him and Barbara were like buddy. It was like, oh, we're buddy now and shit, and we should go get some drinks after this, and just think about it, don't say anything. And I was just like, and she just smiled and was like, no. And I was like, yes, girl. And I was like, yes. No, because you know, I don't like that nigga. And I was just like, that's how I be saying no to people and shit. People be mad at me though, because like, I don't know, they make up some shit in their head about me. They triggered by the word no or boundaries or whatever the fuck. But no, I be saying it nice with a smile and everything. Niggas be like getting an attitude and shit. And I just had to learn to let that shit go, because you ain't about to phase me and move my day and shit, nigga. You ain't about to give me stress cancer. No. Like, that's another thing about this shit going on in the world. Like it's stressing me out. It's stressing me out. And I feel overwhelmed. And I told y'all about stress, nigga. Like, stress causes inflammation in the body. Inflammation causes cancer, nigga. So that basically means that the hormones that are released when you are stressed out causes inflammation in your organs and muscles and bones and shit, right? And that means your body has to constantly be healing itself if you're constantly stressed out, right? And so if your body's constantly healing itself, well, cancer is just a cell that never stopped healing, and it kept multiplying and multiplying, trying to heal a wound, and the natural killer cell never kicked in. So now it's metastasizing. That's why it's hard to cure, because it's a natural process that went like haywire and shit. Like, and so, like, if you're constantly stressed out and you're constantly healing in your body, then you have like a hereditary susceptibility to cancer or some shit in your family, then you're more likely for one of them cells to metastasize. Or if you've had cancer before and now you're in remission, and some nigga is in your life stressing you the fuck out every No, I've seen them TikToks. Them women who got cancer or got some illness, or they in their pregnancy room and shit, and these niggas are sitting up there acting like fucking children, cussing them out, treating them fucked up, and I just... So if you got cancer and it's in remission, and then you got some niggas stressing you out every day and shit, are just life stressors, okay? Leave me the fuck alone. You seen them TikToks. You have, I don't care. Then, you know, like, you will get stress cancer, nigga. Like, your cancer's gonna come back. Like, it's more likely to, because there's inflammation that's in your body. It has to keep healing over and over again, and a new cell can pop up with new cancer very easily and shit. So no, rest is important. Like there was this movement a few years ago amongst the niggas, and they were just like, no sleep, nigga, work hard, nigga. And I'm just like looking at these motherfuckers like, no, I need to sleep. I need relaxation. I need peace. I need rest. I need like warm hugs and laying in the warm grass on a sunny day. Like I need all of it. I need a nice jacuzzi. Like my goal is to get rich enough to where I can rest for months at a time. But I know sure enough right now I'm going to take as much rest as humanly possible that my budget can't afford. Like I'm not just going to be like, "Oh, I'm going to wait till I'll wait till I'm old and I got my retirement money and shit." So you mean you're just gonna rest when you're 50? All that wear and tear on your body because you didn't let it rest. Oh God, you're gonna die. You're gonna have all these heart problems and all these, digestive issues, and you're gonna have high blood pressure and cholesterols and shit because you didn't let your body and now you're gonna like let it rest when it's at its most damaged. I'm tired of niggas. What's wrong with y'all? Like, go to therapy. Like, what? That's what's wrong with the world. These old ass men, just like that little girl said in Castlevania. I keep watching Castlevania and I have no idea what's going on. I just lose interest in shit. It's like sports. And it's not like I don't like sports. It's that like I enjoy seeing the people that I am around happy. So like I bought this water fountain for my cat, right? And like it dumps the old water in one pot and siphons new water into the drinking thing so she could drink. So it like keeps recycling and shit. And I bought it 2 weeks ago and I ain't seen her drink out that shit once. I mean, she's drinking the water because it's dumping the shit and it's motion sensor. So she's drinking the water, but like I ain't seen her drink the water. But like while I was setting this shit up earlier, she like went over there and drank the water, and I was just like, "Look at you drinking that water, girl!" Like drinking the water, bitch. She was so happy. Like I was so happy. She looked so happy. She looked so content drinking that little water, and I was like, "I know that's right, bitch. I got you fresh water, bitch." You like that water, bitch. And like then I went about my business, and I enjoy seeing people I care about happy, right? And so if a nigga likes sports or some shit, like I enjoy seeing that person watch it. I think for me too, like with sports, like it's repetitive. I can't sit and watch repetitive shit. They just doing the same shit over and over for hours and shit, and I'm just like and then like the only exciting part happens like 3 hours in or some shit, and it's boring. The whole the first 3 hours, like it's fucking boring. Like like this is how bad it is. Like I was like when I was a kid, right, and when Mike Tyson bit Holyfield's ear, right, I got up and walked out the room they was watching it in because I was bored. I was like, this shit is, and I don't like boxing and fighting and the blood and why y'all hitting each other. CTE exists. It's out there in the world and you can't control it when you got it. And like Aaron Hernandez, God bless all of that situation. But like, but whatever, niggas like to hit each other, so I don't whatever. And so I just wasn't feeling it. So I walked out, and as I'm turning the corner to go to like from the den to the kitchen, like all I hear behind me is, "What the fuck? Oh my God." And I ran back. I fucking jetted back to that motherfucking room. And I was like, what happened? What happened? And then they showed the replay. This nigga was standing there with his covering his ear, like blood was pouring out. And I was just like, fuck. I missed it and shit. And I was just like, I'm still disappointed I never saw that live. I'm so still disappointed I only saw the aftermath. disappointed enough to like watch sports on a regular basis? No, but but decently disappointed, like in myself, because I walked out and maybe God didn't want me to see that. Maybe God was like, no, you don't need to see that. And yeah. So like Castlevania is like, it's not repetitive. I don't know what it is, but something in me just zones out when it's on. Like I don't. Like it's some shit you gotta really pay attention to, and I'll be watching it at times where I don't want to be paying attention like that. Yeah, that's what's wrong with the world. These old men sitting up here dictating and shit, and with their old ways, and they don't care, and they not gonna change, and there's nothing you can do to make them change. Nigga, Jesus could come out the sky right now. They will try to gaslight us and tell us that that's the demon, and we need to follow them into the caves. Shit. And then you're gonna be stuck here in the caves with these niggas when you could have been like sucked up in the rapture with Jesus or some shit. I don't fucking know. You wouldn't have to be here anymore with these motherfuckers. They could be in the cave by themselves. No, I like that when she said no. What else? Oh, and then like I like how they was like I said, they were helping the kids, and I like how they were able to come together as a community to help the kids. And I mean, that's what it is. It's like we have to do it ourselves and shit. We have to like outside of what the city and the government and the state, all that stuff, and the country's doing. We have to come together in little communities and do it ourselves, and reclaim that tribal shit and work together and shit. And I'm just like, oh gosh, are we gonna be able to do that? Like these niggas out here hate black women. Like, how they gonna come together with black women to help? No, I realize full-heartedly, I full-heartedly just believe these niggas hate black women. I mean, like, there's a good majority of them do, okay? And I cemented this one day when, like, I was on Instagram and I saw this post, and it was talking about, like, who should be the next Black Panther, right? And it had these pictures of these male actors and shit. And niggas was commenting like seriously, like, oh, this be the next Black. He should be and I'm just like, we did have a next Black Panther, and y'all niggas don't feel like she's the Black Panther because y'all niggas don't think that black women are people. Like, we're not human beings and shit, nigga. Like, even in the comic book, she's the next Black Panther, nigga. Like, but we're not people. Like, earlier today, I was scrolling on Instagram, right? And Yo Gabba Gabba was on Tiny Desk, right? And, like, they got a new Yo Gabba Gabba person, and it's this little black girl. She's this little kid, right? And like, I was looking at the comments, and the comments were like, "Where's DJ? What's it called? The nigga that used to be on there." And then I went on the page for Yo Gabba Gabba, and under every post, almost under a lot of posts she's in, there's a lot of comments that are just saying like, "Where is the other dude? Where is he? We miss him. I don't like this new." And I'm just like, she's a little black girl. Like, she's a child. Like, this little baby don't need to be seeing this. Like, of course they changed this nigga. That was like 2010, 2011 or some shit. What is you talk? He's older and shit now. He ain't trying to be doing jumping jacks and flips and shit. What are you going on about? They replaced him with an actual child, so potentially she could grow into like a teenager on the show or some shit. Why are you talking? They hate black women and black girls, and there's I don't know, like, and it's like this narcissistic denial of that hatred that is keeping us from coming together. And this is not to say that black women don't have our own issues that we need to, but like, statistically speaking, a lot of black women are going to therapy and working on our shit, and a lot of black men aren't. And So we acknowledged our issues, and then we are in mass going to therapy. That's why therapy is trending, because a lot of black women have decided to go and heal and shit. And like, so like in mass we're acknowledging and healing, but the other side isn't in mass acknowledging and healing, so we could come together to fight the demons. And so that's why they winning and shit, because they got us separated and shit. Like, our culture is so predominant around the world that if we were to focus it, we would rule the world, and they know that shit. And they like, all of our cultures in the diaspora are predominant around the world in other cultures, even if those other cultures won't admit that K-pop is just old school R&B. Okay, let's talk about and but like the other half has to do the work too and shit. So I don't know, like in mass, like in a large amount, so we can like create communities and all that other bullshit. So it could happen. Things could change if we came together like these folks did on this show in a community and went out of their way. Even the kids went out of their way to like help each other and shit. And with no judgment or like give or take, just cause out of love and care for each other and shit. That's what community is. Acceptance of each other as human beings and equal treatment, and as long as you're not killing and stealing and taking consent from people and shit, and it's not probably not as simple as all that, but still, it's like the bare minimum, the basics, decency. So it was nice to see that. It was nice to see like what that could look like. I thought it was funny that what's his name? Gregory. So he made friends with Shamar Mar. And yes, his name is Shamar Mar. I don't care what you're talking about. He's young Shamar Mar. And if you don't know who Shamar Mar is, I'm not gonna say his name properly. I don't care. Then you are too young, and I'm sad. I'm sorry for you. So young Shamar Mar came to school to give them tablets so they can do the online learning situations and stuff. And he ran into Gregory, and Gregory was like shooting the hoops into the trash can and shit. And then he was like, "You want to join me for a pickup game basketball?" And he was like, "Yeah." And then the nigga said it's at 6:00 in the morning, and then Gregory was just like, "Oh yeah, that's just in time for my workout. That's like I can do that right after my workout or some shit." And I was just like, "So if the basketball game is 6 a.m., like what time is you getting up, Gregory? Because that's, oh gosh, I don't get up that early. No, rest is important. Rest is important." And so Gregory's getting up at 4 or 5 in the morning to gym or home workout or whatever the fuck, and then he's going to play basketball at 6 a.m. in the morning. Like, oh gosh. Oh, my body feels exhausted just thinking about it. Feels exhausted just thinking about that. That's the devil. It's so much. It's just so much movement, and I hate it. I do. I don't like it. And so he like does that, and then like Janine's all like, "Oh, you made a friend, Gregory," and he was like, "I have friends," and I'm like, "Janine, you dated one of his friends. What's going on? Like, are you trying to like, are they not? I mean, maybe they're not friends anymore, like because of the situation that happened. Okay." And but he had friends at the club. Like he has an awkward persona, and I know like in certain environments when people have awkward personas, people will perceive them as like loners or some shit just because they don't enjoy talking to you or like engaging with you like that. That doesn't mean they don't have lives outside of you. And this nigga had like at least a good handful of friends at the club when he was at, and they looked like they were brohams and shit. You know, they were engaged with each other, and so no, he has friends. Who she's talking about? She dated one of his friends. Maybe she feels guilty. And so, like, I thought that shit was funny. And I don't get up that early unless I'm traveling. Like, unless I'm going on a road trip, unless I'm about to get on a plane. More so if I'm about to get on a plane. Because if I'm going on a road trip, then I'm just probably going to Vegas or Big Bear or some shit. Or maybe Santa Barbara. And that shit ain't that far for me to be getting up at no 4 or 5 in the morning and shit. Like, it's not that serious. No, you can get up at like 8 a.m. and shit and head out to Vegas and get there probably around like 3 or 4 or some shit. Like it's no. It's still daytime depending on what time of the year it is. It's fine. You get there. You'll get there when you get there. What's wrong with me? And so yeah. I thought this was a good episode, you know. I like how they helped each other. I like how they helped each other and cared for each other. And I want to see more of that in the world. Like, I like that this is a representation of that. I don't know. They might take this away from us. They was trying to take Sesame Street away from us. I guess they renewed them for another season. I don't fucking know. But they was the wholesome shit that promotes love and care for all humankind, and they're trying to take it away from us, so they might take this away from us. So, you know. No, we've been through this before. We've been through this before. Our ancestors have been through this before. They've tried various different ways to break us apart. And, you know, I see bye-bye and shit. Nigga, like, you and me, we never fight. I see bye-bye. You and me, we have one heart. But no, like, I guess we can get through this. I mean, I don't know what has to happen. I guess we'll get through this. Got through all the other shit they did to us. You just have to, you know, if you can have the privilege and the budget to rest as much as possible. I'll say that because you got to afford to rest. Like, it costs money to rest because you have to have the time to do that. And most jobs don't pay enough for people to live. So they have to have like multiple jobs and they have to do gig jobs. And life is hard and terrible for them a lot. And they're exhausted and stressed out all the time. And so, like, just find little moments, little snippets of rest, and God bless, because I don't know. Hate this fucking place, man. Like, and they won't leave them trans people alone. They just keep like, no, because you don't like them, right? So why would you take away their mean? That's how you know it's like abuse, because the narcissist, the sociopath needs to have their victim around. Like, they need to have their supply around so that they can keep, you know, getting off on it, because that's their coping skill, is to hurt people. And so every protest, every crying in the street is a reaction for them to get off on. And like, that's what I mean. They don't give a shit. And so, like, but like, what else can you do? Like, what else is there to do? I'm tired. I don't know. I'm tired. Shit. This is dumb. But, you know, this was my review of this episode of Abbott Elementary Strike. And It was good. It was community coming together to support each other. It was magical. That's why they don't want us to have shit like this, because it teaches us how to come together and shit and love each other. And that's some shit like narcissists and sociopaths don't understand, because they can't control you when you love yourself, because then they can't poke at your vulnerabilities because you don't give a shit. You don't care that they hate you or whatever. That's why they have to go above and beyond and fuck with your money and like your livelihood and sometimes even your fucking life, because they need to get that reaction. And it's like, that's like a drug. That's like you got an addiction or some shit. This some no. Mm-mm. God bless us all. That's all I gotta say. Later days.